Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Computer Science and Engineering Workshop. This is your host, Decoding speaking. And in today's video, we're going to be developing a QR code generator / decoder application using Python. So developing this, we're going to be using the modules OpenCV, CV2, QR code, as the name suggests, and then lastly, custom Tkinter. Now, first I just want to talk about custom Tkinter a bit. So essentially it's this customized Tkinter-based graphical user interface development library. That's for Python. In the video description, there's going to be a link to its GitHub repository. If you haven't checked it out yet, make sure to do so. You're also going to be checking it out in this video as well. Anyway, now, regarding the application, as the name suggests, it has two main functionalities. It's first going to generate QR codes. So let's say www.helloworld.com, not CML.com, and we generate it. And then what we want to do is we want to decode it. And then, so this is the application, this is the general idea. And without further ado, let's jump straight in. Okay, so as usual, when we begin the project, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have to create a project folder. I went ahead and created one named QR code generator. And inside of this folder, what I want to have is I want to have an empty Python file called main.py. Okay, now that we're done with this, actually, never mind. The first thing I want to do is, actually, I forgot to do this, but the first thing you want to do is you want to install the libraries. So let's start with Tkinter. So I have all of them installed, but if you don't, what you want to do is, well, for Tkinter, you want to say pip install tk. For custom Tkinter, you want to say custom Tkinter. For to install OpenCV, this one is a bit interesting. Pip install OpenCV-Python. It's already installed on me, but yeah, no, clear. This isn't PowerShell, God, sorry. Anyways, so and lastly for, which one was it? Yes, the QR code, yeah. Install QR code. Yep, since it's already installed, it does that. Oh, and lastly, one other thing you may want to install is pip install PyInstaller. This is going to be important later on when we're going to be packing our application. I'm actually going to talk about that as well, because with packaging it with custom Tkinter was a bit different, to say the least. So now that that's out of the way, let's get started with coding it. So first, as usual, we're going to import our libraries. So from Tkinter, I want to import a couple of things. So firstly, I'm just going to import photo image. So that one, we're only going to be using it for the icons, which I should have added to the my project folder already. So sorry, I'm just gonna paste it here. There we go. So if you want to download this, in the description below there will be a link to the GitHub repository of the finished project. So if you want to download it, you can download it from there. But if you say you don't want to bother, it's completely fine. You know, you're not going to miss out on much. But yeah, so we're going to be using it entirely for that icon. And then from Tkinter, the next thing I want to import is the file dialog here. So actually, let me just demonstrate what it does. So it's essentially this file dialog box that's going to open up when we say decode QR code here, right? So we're going to say decode. We're going to pick a code, and then it's going to decode it for us anyway. So yeah, the next thing we want to import is the custom Tkinter, since it's what we're going to be using to develop the graphical user interface later down the line. After this, we're going to be importing the QR code. So we're going to be using this to, how do I say this? Well, for the QR code. And after that, I'm going to import, not install CV2. This is the OpenCV module, just with a different name. We're going to use it for the QR code again. And lastly, I want to import the OS module. So we're going to use this one to locate the downloads file. If you paid attention in the beginning, our program saves the generated QR codes in the downloads folder. If you want to do something different, you can go ahead and do so. If you want to, say for an example, save it elsewhere. But in this tutorial, I'm just gonna save the codes in the how do you say, in the downloads folder. Yeah. But anyway, so now the first thing I want to do is I want to define a class of app. All right. Inside of this, well, I'm gonna say custom Tkinter.ctk. So what CTK here is, so what this is it's going to be this main app window that we're going to be displaying on our screen. You're going to be able to see it better, right? So I'm going to say def init. I'm going to get rid of the arguments here. They're going to be very unnecessary. The self is all that we're going to need here. But yeah. Anyway, so the first thing I want to do is I want to say self. Oh, my cursor's at the wrong place. Yeah. So the first thing I want to say is I just want to say self.title. So this is going to be the title of our application, right? So I want to say qrcode generator here. Actually, why does no? There's an indentation error. Self.title. There we go. Much better. Yeah. And then next, I want to define the window geometry here. So self.geometry. So this is essentially going to be the dimensions of our of the window we're going to be displaying. Let's say 300 by 500 for now. And then while we're at it, actually, let me just get this out of the way. I just want to say icon, photo image, code.ico. And then here I'm going to say self.icon bitmap to set our icon. So right now our class should be able to display a blank window with name equals main. I hate this keyboard. I really hate this keyboard, but whatever, yeah. So let's see, what was on here? So I'm just gonna say app. I'm just gonna create a new app object, and then what I want to do is I want to say app.mainLoop. So what mainLoop function does is it calls the main loop of the well, it essentially gets our window to show, you know, like we're gonna see it anyway. So yeah, what it does is it enables this window to appear here, to remain here on our screen. This is the main loop of the Tkinter window, yeah. So next, as you can see, we can resize it as well. For this app, I just wanna, like later on, I'm gonna lock the screen size, the window size, but for now, it's gonna stay dynamic like this. Okay, so now that we're done with displaying the initial app window, we're gonna have to get some stuff into it. So the first thing I want to add is I want to add a frame. So this is essentially a container for the elements. That's not essentially, that's entirely, I guess, what it is. It's just it's going to be a container inside of a container. So for that, I'm going to call CTK frame from custom Tkinter, right? Its master, its parent element is going to be self, which in our case is our root, right? So saying it like this is essentially kind of like this. So root is this, right? Custom Tkinter CTK. So this is our root, right? So self here is the is essentially the root window. Just to clarify it a bit better if it's not clear enough. So I'm going to say master self. I don't want to add any other parameters to it, so I just want to say frame.pack, so it can get packed and displayed on our window, right? So let's see, now I want a padding x, a horizontal, no, it was horizontal or vertical. I really get those two terms confused, so sorry, my bad. Anyway, I want a pad x, a left and right padding of 20, and then a top and bottom padding of 20, because I want some margin with the outer bounds of its parent container and the outer bounds of the child frame here, essentially. Next, let's see, I want to say fill both, because I want it to fill it both ways. I want this, actually, let me just write it then, show you. Expand, true, there we go. I'm just going to run this right now. Okay, so as you can see, we now have a frame inside of this parent container of root, I mean self in this context, but yeah. So as you can see, the padding here is the gap between the outer bounds of the parent container and the child element here, right? Since we said fill here, it fills the parent element. So when we expand and shrink the parent element here, what happens is that it expands and shrinks as well, since we said fill both ways and expand. So yeah, that's going to be our child container here. And then inside of this frame, inside of this container, what I want to say is, well, the first thing I want to do is I want to add that label that you saw in the beginning of the video. I want to say custom Tkinter, CTK label. Right. So next, let's see what was it. So what did I want to have inside of this? Yes, of course, QR code generator and decoder. There we go. So this is going to be our text for it. I want to say master equals frame because I want its parent element to be this frame element here, right? And then let's see. So what else? So I don't think I'm forgetting anything here. I want to say label.pack. So I wanted to have padding. What was it? I think it was 10 both ways. Yeah, I think it was 10 all around. So pad y 10, pad x 10. Oh, and I almost forgot. So I wanted to. Next thing I want to do is I want to just actually, you know what? That's probably first just display it as it is to show you, right? So we now have a label we're displaying here, but I wanted to change the font. So I think for this one it was actually, let me just read my notes. Okay, so the font I'm going to be using here is Berlin Sans FB, and then so what this font argument takes is, by the way, it's a tuple. So the first thing here is going to be the font, and then the next is going to be the font size. So Berlin Sans FB 18. So yeah, this is it. So if you want to, you know, figure out what fonts you can use and you cannot, is it essentially uses the fonts downloaded on your computer. So what you can do is you can go to your search bar and then you can search for fonts, right? You can go to font settings and then the available fonts should be displayed there. So yeah, anyway, I wanted to padding. Actually, I think that should be it. Now let's display it. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, actually, before I forget, so I think you guys are gonna like this. So this is a bit of a trick. So whenever you want to go into a new line in a label you're printing out, I mean displaying rather than printing, I'm sorry, is what you want to do is, so this placeholder actually works to create a new line here as well. So yeah, you can use it that way as well, which is what I've done in the original version of the app. So the next thing that I want to do is, okay, so we're going to need an input field. So I'm going to say URL input, right, no, equals custom Tkinter .ctk entry. So it's going to be an entry field. I want its master element to be once again frame. I mean, every element we're going to have for our app is going to be inside of the frame container. That's the reason. But yeah, whatever. So next I want to have a width of 200. I think should do justice in here to it, but I'm not sure. Let's see, what else did I want to add? Yes, of course we're going to need some placeholder text as well. So placeholder, let's say enter text here, right? And then I believe I'm not, yeah, I shouldn't be forgetting anything. Okay, so I want to say URL.input, and once again to display it we're going to say pack, URL input.pack. So let's see, so I want to say pad. No, no, this was supposed to have some internal padding. Okay, so for that, I want to say iPad Y equals 5, and then iPad X equals 5 units, right? So what I here stands for is internal, so this is going to be internal padding. So this is top and bottom internal padding. This is left and right internal padding. And aside from these, I wanted to have some outer padding as well. So yeah, so now let's just try to get it to work. And then wait, hold on, why is this left? Why is this? Oh wait, hold on, I forgot one little thing. I want to say justify. I just really hate this keyboard. Anyway, so I want to say justify center. Yep, now it's centered. And then I would like, it still doesn't look right though. Hold on, I feel like, oh god, I forgot the font again. I forgot the font again. For the font, we're gonna actually do the same thing, except this time instead of Berlin Sans, I think I used, actually I think this one was Consolas. It doesn't really matter, you can use whatever you want. It's really up to you, but I think it should be Consolas. With a font size of, I think 16. Actually, let me just check it out. It's 16, yeah. Okay, so there we go. So yeah, hello world. I really like Consolas as a font. You know, it's just it's got that how do you say it? Never mind. Anyway, okay. So the next two GUI elements I want to have is are going to be the buttons, right? So the first one is going to be the generate the one to generate QR codes. So you guessed it right. From custom Tkinter, I'm gonna call CTK button here. Its master element is, you guessed it right again, frame. And then I wanted to show a text that says generate code. Let's see. This is it. This should be it right now. And then to display it, once again, we're going to use pack. How, it's not btn, it's btn, not btn. Anyway, so to display it once again, we're going to use pack, which is a total surprise by this point. I know I'm full of surprises, but whatever. And then, let's see, I think this was, let me just check it again, so sorry. Okay, so the internal paddings are 5 by 5, but like, the outer paddings are what's going to be different with this one, at least from the entry. 10, 10. Okay, so now let's run the code to see what happens. And I forgot the font again. I'm just gonna copy this from here. Why do I keep forgetting this? What's wrong with me today? It's yeah, anyway, so yeah, now we can see that the font is fine, right? So next, let's see. After this, I'm just gonna copy paste this here. I want to say btn dec. DEC there stands for decode. So this is going to be the exact same button with the only difference being the text and the command we're going to be adding later on to the function. So I'm going to say decode QR code here, and this is going to be good. Yeah, yep, it looks fine. Okay, so let's see. Am I forgetting anything? Ah, yes, of course. Okay, so I just want to show one last thing before I'm done with the graphical user interface part. So we can right now expand and shrink our application, at least the window, but like, you know, it doesn't really make much sense to just leave it entirely like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lock the size of it. So to do that, what you want to do is like, actually, let me just demonstrate. So I want to comment this self.geometry. Like, it won't matter if I comment it or not. You'll see. So I want to define a minimum size of 300 by, I think 300 should be good here. And then a maximum size, which is the same as the minimum size, right? So its maximum size and minimum size are equal, which means that the size will have to stay between those. So the size won't be able to change. So no matter how much you try to expand it, it's not gonna, the size won't change now. So why do you want to do it? I don't know. This is just so that I do this so I can make sure that it's a bit easier to work with. I mean, if you want to do it a little bit different, once again, it's completely up to you. But yeah. Okay, so now that we're done with the graphical user interface part, the next part that we're going to have to work on is going to be the part that actually generates the QR codes that we're going to be generating. So the first thing I want to do is I want to say define generate code here. It's going to have one parameter, and that's going to be the URL input. input, and its type is going to be custom Tkinter.ctk entry. Now, the reason why we're passing the element as the how do we say it, the parameter, the argument of it is because, well, you're going to see. So here I'm going to say URL equals URL input dot get, right? So the thing is, essentially, we're going to need this dot get function here to get the URL that's inside of the URL entry box. The problem is there really isn't anywhere else that we can add it. So here, what's going to happen is we're going to say command here. We're going to say lambda because we want it to be able to, we want to put a function here that's going to take parameters. So here we're going to say generate code, and then we're going to say, let's see, what was it again? Yes, URL input, right? That's pretty basic, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to say URL input here. And then the thing is, we can't really put anything else here. That's actually, no, wait, hold on, this is below it. We could have, actually, we could put like URL input.get here, and then this is going to return a string. So, okay, so changing in the plans, the URL input is now URL, and it's just a string, and then we're not going to be getting it like that. That was I can't believe I just noticed that. Okay, so that was unnecessary. Just forget that it ever happened. That didn't happen. So we're gonna say qrcode. So we're gonna call this library, and then inside of this, we're just gonna call the make function. So what this make function does is, well, it returns the QR code. It makes a QR code and then returns you that QR code so you can actually save it later on, right? Okay, so the next step is going to be saving the code, but to do that, oh god, okay, so to do that we're going to be oh god, actually hold on, first we're going to need to get the user downloads, right? So downloads equals f. So inside of this I'm going to say let's see, what was it? Okay, I'm going to have to open brackets here. Say os.get environment. What was it again? User profile here. So let's see, what was next. Okay, and then here I'm going to say downloads. Then yeah, this should be it. I think this was it. This was all it was supposed to be. So what this piece of code essentially does is, well, it gets the downloads folder of the user that's using the computer at the moment, so you can actually, locate the downloads folder to save the code. As I've said, you don't need to save it in the downloads folder, but it just makes sense. So yeah, okay, so I'm going to say code.save, and then I'm going to say downloads here because we defined it, and I'm going to say plus code.png. So we need to add this. This is actually important because if you say it, because this right now is just a directory, and you need to enter the, so the argument that's going to need to be passed into these into here is the path of the file that you want to save, right? So this, however, is just the path of the folder we want to save it in. So this right here is the file name, the name of the file. So this is the file path, except it's not because I forgot this. Okay, now it's a file path. Okay, sorry. And then the next thing we want to do a pop-up to oh god, I forgot to do the pop-up. Okay, so change the plans. We're gonna do the pop-up now. Okay, so I'm gonna say define pop-up. So it's gonna have one parameter, and that's gonna be msg, which stands for message. I hate this keyboard. So anyway, so inside of this I'm gonna say window. So this is gonna be our window, and then this window is gonna be the top level widget of CTK. So I'm gonna say custom Tkinter. That's CTK top level, right? So this is the pop-up equivalent of CTK here, right? So and below it, inside of this window, I want to say okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to give it a title. So for you. It's a message for us. So for you, I guess that makes sense. Window max size. What was the size? So I'm just gonna lock the size of this one as well. But like, what was it with? I think it was 300 by 200, but I'm not sure. Actually, let me just look it up. Okay, it's 300 by 180. So 300 by 180. And then min size of 300 by 180 as well. And then, last but not least, the icon is going to be important. So I'm just going to say icon here. I'm going to say win. There we go. Okay, so the stuff here is ready. So the first thing I want to do is I want to define a frame here inside of this function. So it doesn't matter that I use the same variable name here as here because of the scope of the parameters here. The scope here is different, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, so I want to say, as previously, custom Tkinter CTK frame. Its master is going to be, God, I mean, this keyboard is driving me a bit insane, but yeah, whatever. So let's see. So its master is going to be the window here, and then yeah, that's it. Actually, I don't really want to add any background color or whatever. So yeah, and then we're just gonna pack it. Frame.pack. Actually, what was the padding of this? I don't think it was like 20, but I'm not sure. Actually, well, let's just try 20 here. Pad y 20, pad x 20. That's in 20. Fill both. Expand. True. Okay, and now I just want to say pop up here, right? Actually, I'm just gonna comment this and then say pop up just to test the pop-ups real quick. So I want to say hello world. And then, yeah. Now let's run and see. Okay, so oh wait, we have nothing to display the messaging yet, but yeah, the pop-up works. This is pretty good to know. So anyway, now let's put some stuff inside of the pop-up. So I'm just gonna have a label here, as before, and just as previously, I'm gonna say CTK label. I want it to have actually, let me just so master, its master is going to be, its parent element is going to be frame, not window, its master is going to be frame. And then let's see, its text is going to be the MSG here, the message the function receives. And then font, I think I used consolas with this one, right? So consolas, and should be 16. I think I only used like 18 and 16 as font sizes. Even though I'm not sure, but yeah, but we'll see. So label.pack, and then I wanted to have I'm not sure if I wanted to have like any what was the padding of this? Do I even want to add padding to this one? Let's just, you know what? Let's just add like 10 by 10 on each side. Like I don't think left and right is gonna be that big of a deal, but like top and bottom. I think it will. Okay, so it says hello world now. So yeah. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to add a button here that says OK and closes the window. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy a button from here and then just paste it for the sake of keeping it shorter, right? Let's see. Okay. So and then font I wanted to, okay, so we don't want it to say decode qrcode, we want it to say OK. And then it's going to do, so what it's going to do is its command is going to be win.destroy. So this is how you destroy the window, the pop-up window, or rather close it. Destroy is like, I'm going to be honest, it's a bit aggressive here, but yeah. Okay, so let's see, generate QR code. Okay, and as we can see, this does in fact work, except hold on, this just doesn't look right though. I feel like I did something wrong here. Is this missing something? Am I wrong with my, am I off with my paddings? Oh wait, this was supposed to have some internal padding too, the button here. Oh wait, the button here already has internal padding. You know what, it's fine, it works, it doesn't matter. So yeah, anyways, so what I want to do here, I want to come here, I want to say, I almost accidentally closed the board, yeah. Okay, so here I want to say, so what was it? Inside of this, I want to say the QR code is at, and then I want to say /n for a new line, and then I'm going to say plus downloads. Actually, no, hold on. You know what? What we can actually do is, I can say file path here. No. Let's see. I'm going to control X this. So sorry. Just 1 second, real quick. Code.save. God, this keyboard is, it's driving me insane. I'm going to say file path here. And then instead of just the downloads folder, we can pass the full file path here. Right. So let's see what's going to happen now. So I'm going to input some text in here. So I want to say hello world, hello people. It's going to generate a QR code, code.png, because so it can't display the full thing, but I guess it's, actually, did it even do that though? Hold on, I'm just gonna, just 1 second real quick. I think I may have done something wrong. Hello world, hello people. Oh, okay, it does save it. Okay, so yeah. Okay, now I'm gonna shut it down. But yeah, so we're done with the first function now. So the next one is gonna be a lot simpler than this one. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna decode the one we've generated. So it's gonna be pretty simple here. Right, so let's see, so I want to say def decode here, and then actually just 1 second real quick, let's check something. So it says decode, so we're going to say decode here, right? And then here I'm going to say QR code equals file dialog. So we're going to say a file dialog in here. I'm gonna have to check my notes for this one because it's this one is a bit lengthy. Okay, so we're gonna say open file name, and inside of this initial directory is gonna be initial dir is gonna be home directory. And I'm gonna say title for the file dialog window. So select file. It's gonna say. And then this is where it gets a bit annoying. You're gonna have to define all the file types by hand. It's a bit lengthy, but you know. Okay, so the first one is gonna be image. It's gonna be JPEG, right? So I'm gonna say JPEG here. The next type I would like to define is gonna be actually the same as this. So JPEG. Like this, and then lastly this is going to be important as well. So there's going to be PNG, and they're supposed to contain dots in their beginnings as well, yeah, but whatever. Like yeah, let's see, and now this should be fine. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna say is, so we're gonna need a detector, right? So I'm just gonna say cv2 dot QR code detector. This is pretty useful, right? And then here I'm gonna say code string. So this is the string to the code, and I'm just gonna say underscore. This is gonna make a lot more sense down the line. I'm gonna say detector dot detect and decode. Actually, I think I may have hold on, did something wrong, but yeah, let's see. I detect and decode. I'm gonna say CV2. I feel like I did something a bit wrong there, but you know what? I'm gonna trust the process. So I'm gonna say QR code. Like this should be it. I feel like I did something wrong with like should be detect and decode. It just doesn't change color, so you know it's always a bit fishy when it doesn't change color. But yeah, it's whatever. I'm gonna say pop up, right? And then the message is gonna be the code string here, right? Okay. And then next I'm gonna come over here and then say here not there. Oh, it's here. I'm gonna say commands decode. Then yeah, okay, so the app is now complete. So oh no, wait, I gotta close this before I can let's click it, and there we go. Okay, so the app is now complete, so I'm just gonna say hello beautiful people, it says, right? I'm just gonna generate the code. I'm gonna say decode QR code. Hello beautiful people. So yeah, our app now fully works. Okay, so now that we're done with our application all the way, the next thing we're gonna do is we will want to package it. So you know, packaging it with like the main reason why I'm actually including the packaging part in this video is because when you package it with PyInstaller, it's a bit interesting. Also, you can't use the one file version because the custom Tkinter library uses some JSON files as well. So you're also gonna have to add some data as well. But actually, just let me show you, right? So this is the command file that I have to use, right? So PyInstaller app.py. It's gonna be main, not main.py, because we named it main this time. And then we're gonna use the one directory flag to, well, I have it in a single directory. We want to have a console in the back when we run our application, so we're going to say now console. We want it to be windowed, so windowed, you know, that's a no-brainer. Icon. So I wanted to add an icon just to make it a bit nicer. So you know, we're going to use the icon flag, and this one here is crucial for it to work, right? So this one here adds data to the package, right? So what you're going to want to do is you will want to first locate Python 3.10. It's what's installed me, and then you will need to find the custom Tkinter package, and then you will want to add that to your package as well, because using the add data flag, right? Because if you don't, your program won't work. As I've said in the beginning, there's going to be a link in the description to the GitHub repository of custom Tkinter. There's a lot more about this. I totally recommend you read it. It's a pretty useful library, so it's useful to know. Anyway, so I'm just gonna call this now, and then yeah, it's gonna package it into a distributable for me. It can take a moment, but in the end of the day, I think it's gonna be worth it. It's not even that long. It's like 30 seconds or so. Okay, so it is now completed successfully. So inside of this distributable folder, actually, let me just increase the view here. So this is the distributable. So this is what's going to happen, right? There's going to be a build folder, a spec folder, and then a file, and then a distributable folder, a dist folder. So the application is here, right? It says main. And then inside of this main, there's an executable, right, that we can run. Actually, let me just increase the size again. This main, when we press this main, that it should be a function. Hold on, what's code.icon not defined? What? Oh god. Okay, so I forgot to add it like this. Just one sec. Okay, so since this is missing, it doesn't work. It expects this, but it should. Yeah, it works now. So we can now say hello world. Actually, you know what, I'm going to say hello world.com, and then yeah, it now saves the URL. As you can see, it's here, and then you may have noticed that it overwrites the pre-existing ones. I didn't really do anything related to that, but yeah, that's going to be for another video. I think this one is already long enough as it is, but yeah, that's it for today. So yeah, so if you guys found this video helpful, educational, or enjoyable at the very least, a like and subscribe, and potentially a comment could be nice. I would appreciate it. I mean, you don't have to. You're not going to get arrested or anything, but if you could, I'm just saying it would be much appreciated. And then yeah, that's it. See you guys in the next one.